The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays. With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
This is what I have to work with, everyone.
And Sean Alley.
Like I said, I was just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. And listen, we've got someone returning to the show. And yes, he's a world champion shooter, but there's a lot of things that some accomplishments early in his life that people don't know about. Okay, not only was he captain of the football, baseball, hockey, and golf teams, but he was also prom king 3 years in a row and valedictorian, all while being homeschooled. He drives an electric car because he's such an extreme environmentalist, and he's currently calling us from a charging station that's powered by a coal-fired power plant. You can say he's as good with a shotgun as he is with a phone, as both of those performances have been kept top secret for years now. Parazzi gave the man a sponsorship just to get the proprioception talk out of their showroom. He changes bear pelt vests faster than Superman in a phone booth, and he spews out words out of the thesaurus faster than a politician. After 18 months of smoke signals, messenger pigeons, and a SpaceX satellite tracking him down, we finally got him back with us. Welcome back to the show, David Radulovich. How are you, David?
What? Oh my God. That was so hard to try to be quiet listening to. Oh my God. That was quite possibly. No, that's not quite possibly. That is undoubtedly the best intro I've ever had in my life. I wish that Scott Robertson read that when he'd intro me for the PSCA TV shows. Oh my God. I'm going to have to put that on my resume. Maybe I'm in the middle of designing my website right now. I'm going to put that as like that's going to be like the on-screen, like immersive text as you scroll through like the cinematic hero page.
Well, I figured you're going to talk the whole show, so I might as well get mine out right at the beginning.
Yeah, you got to get it in quick before I get on a roll.
Oh, man. Well, listen, I promised a lot of listeners I'd keep you on the leash this show. But, hey, before we get started, everyone, I just want to remind you, first of all, no tourney talk this week. And also, Neil Chadwick's contest, the $500 entry fee credit to the Nationals, has now grown. He's also going to include a $500 junior entry. Get over to show 259 and listen for the details and get us those entries. Just send them to me. I'll make sure Neil gets them. Okay, so for this week's Make or Break update, the 2026 North Central Regional wrapped up here. It's been about 2 weekends ago now at Northbrook Sports Club with some great matchups in the Top Gun Shootout. The event took place Saturday night at 6:30 with the top 8 shooters in Level 1, which is your A through D, and top 8 shooters in Level 2, which is your Masters through AA, taking the stage to see who would come out on top. In Level 1 bracket, we saw Nash Blythe face off against Caleb Hull, with Caleb advancing after beating Nash 44-27. Next up, Ellery Kelly stopped Tony Shively 25-15. Kirk Davids managed to move past Spencer Block 34-33. For the last semifinal match, Tyler Seach beat Jamie Williams 32-14. Following that, Caleb stopped Ellery, who ended up taking third, beating out Tyler Seach. For the final match in Level 1, Kirk managed to stop Caleb and take home first place. In Level 2, William Brown beat Ryan Koch 33-32. Brandon Powell beat AJ Diamond 48-39. Blaze Whitehead beat John Brinkoff 40-23. Eric Schoen beat Michael Sassone, 45-30. Brandon would go on to face William Brown, sending William face-to-face with Eric Schoen in third place match where Eric beat William 33-31. That left Brandon and Blaze to face off for the final, where they stood off in a rhino choke shootout after tying on the final pair. They both managed to break the 7 on the first attempt, but Blaze fell short on the second, leaving the door open for Brandon, who capitalized and crushed his 7 to win. You can check Facebook and Instagram at Make a Break Official to see the qualifying scores in the Top Gun Shootout. Also want to remind everyone, trap sales are very, very, very busy right now. I've been getting a lot of calls. If you want traps by late summer, early fall, give me a call. We'll get your order put in. But it is busy season. If you need an Atlas trap, a Rainier Claybot, or a modular tower system, give me a call. Send me an email. I'm easy to find and get a hold of. David, I've been asked this question about 300 times, so we're going to dive right into it. Everybody's asking me, where's David? Is he okay? How's he been? Where's he been? Tell us what's going on, man.
Well, first off, I have to say, is Jules like behind you with like a cattle prod or something? Because this is the most organized to any start of a podcast I have ever had. This is like you. What's going on? Are you okay?
Yeah,
Jason, be quiet for 5 seconds if you need help. Okay.
So what are you supposed to do? Like write something on the mirror so when the steam comes up, it's on there or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh my God.
I don't know. After 260 some episodes, I finally figured out how to do this. I guess I don't know.
God almighty. That's pretty cool.
It's hard to believe we're starting in November. We'll be starting year 7.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yep.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, still trucking along.
Wow.
I miss the big man being here,
Yeah.
We got to crack up on each other, which is probably why I picked on you so much, because I have my buddy here to pick on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was compiling up there for you. You had to get it out.
I mean, I just talked to him yesterday, and, we still talk probably 3-4 times a week just because we're friends. We've been friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he is so daggone busy. I mean, he barely got time to breathe for the 4th of July holiday, I feel for the guy, and it's understandable why he doesn't have time to join us, but he expressed he misses it too. He misses talking to everybody and seeing everybody. And I mean, hell, he's not even getting a chance to go shoot here lately. So it's understandable. But no, back to what's that, David?
Oh, I was just gonna say that's the cool thing about the way that this whole shooting world goes is that, I mean, you look at all the people that we all, grew up in the game with, and everyone comes in and out. But when you come back, it's like you never left,
Yeah.
I mean, it really is the greatest group of people that I've ever been a part of,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
when things calm down for them, we'll welcome them back. Maybe we all will, but I don't know about you, Jason.
Of course I'll welcome him back. Hey, you were talking about that. Like Sean and I started shooting with my dad in the early to mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through, my wife just came back from Ohio. She went up there and helped my mom move some stuff. And don't worry, everyone, this relates to sporting clays. I'm getting to it. She brought back a bunch of my dad's paperwork, and I found a letter in there from DuPont Krieghoff. And I shared this with Kimball and with Sean Mainland. I found a letter in there. I didn't know that they used to carry both Krieghoff and Kolar. And this letter was from DuPont Krieghoff saying, Jerry, which was my dad, Jerry, we hope you found the brochures for both Kolar and Krieghoff shotguns. We're here to help you through your purchase. My dad was getting ready to buy either a Kolar or a Krieghoff right before he passed. So, And then I found this will blow you away, David. We had our own traps at the house, manual traps. We had a little tiny course set up when we didn't go to a club. How much do you think my dad was buying cases of targets for? This would have been 95 or 96. Was this price?
Probably like they were probably around 7 or 8 cents a bird.
Well, it wasn't broke down by the bird. It was broke down by they were Laporte targets, which were the big mainstay back then. And it was $6.50 a box.
Wow.
For 135 targets.
135, yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a little off. Yeah, a big difference. I mean, same thing with ammo,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found a receipt. We used to drive out to Indiana Gun Club every year and buy a bunch of reloading supplies. And apparently they had a sale on AA's and Remington STS when I say we used to go out, I mean like 6 or 7 of us would drive out there with pickup trucks and bring back like a ton of shot.
Yeah.
8-pound kegs of cases of 8-pound kegs of powder, and Anyway, there was a bunch of flats of ammo in there, and the AA's were $40 a flat, and the STSs were $37 a flat or $36 a flat. So yeah, long time ago prices, huh?
Yeah, much less expensive to get good back then.
Yeah, and it's amazing that I started back then and I still suck. But hey, it's, but
now you can shoot a third of the time for 5 times the price.
Yes, isn't that awesome?
It's great.
I want to get to some of that, but back to the question. Seriously though, fill everybody in, dude. Where you been? What's been going on? We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I think. What was the last shoot that I was at? I don't even remember what it was.
Well, you went to Georgia State briefly.
Yeah, that's right, Georgia State. Yeah, I was there for a long time, but I shot for a day, and then but prior to that was a World Championship, and then I was at don't remember.
I think Jack Link's.
Was it? Yeah, it was either something. It was. I know I was there, but I can't remember if there was some other shoot in between that, and probably not. But long story short, it's been like a multitude of things that kind of have all layered up on top of themselves. One is that I started a new business, which I'm really excited about because it's really going to give me the time to be able to not have to sell my time for a living, which means that it's going to change so many things about my life, which is very exciting to me because there's a couple of things that I have always just been like dreaming about being able to do. One is the fact that I honestly think it's hard for me to differentiate. Like if you ask me, David, what do you like more, shooting or teaching? I don't know if I could give you an answer to that question. And teaching and thinking about things in the same way that you have to if you are a coach is really just the way that my mind works. It's the type of abstract thinking and problem solving that I love to just exist in and thought all the time. Mm-hmm. And I really just love being out there for, a day or a half a day with somebody, and that like empathetic feedback loop that you get when you're helping somebody accomplish even the smallest of things. And I love it so much. And the biggest thing that is hard about it is that if you do want to teach in that way, mm-hmm. it's not something that you can do with a high volume of people. Just simple math. If I have 1,600 students, how can I go in depth with all of them? I can't.
Right.
Nobody can. It's not possible. And that's my favorite thing to do, because that's where it stops being a regurgitation of an idea and it starts becoming a deeply rooted, like, this doesn't sound like a fun word, but it kind of is this, a deeply rooted, like, dissection of the person's thoughts and goals and mind and everything to understand what else is being involved in the equation of getting them to get better, and I can't do that if I have to pay attention to a bunch of, to just a huge plethora of people.
Yeah.
And that is not something that I say from the perspective of like, oh, woe is me. This is not fun. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I hate the fact that I can't do that for every person.
Right.
And because I want to. And so what ends up happening is, because as you know me, time does not exist in my world. we can put it nicely by saying that. Because I want to do that for every person, I basically do, and then I overextend myself, and then it ends up not going so good for me. There's this thing, I don't know if you know about it, but speaking of like neurology, It's called sleep. That is
Oh,
pretty important. Yeah, I don't know if you know about that.
You struggle with
But
that one.
yeah, yeah. So I'm very excited about that because I have had so many ideas that I want to do for my teaching that I've never been able to do. And also I should say, this doesn't mean that I'm not going to be teaching anymore. What it means is I can spend more time doing things that help more people, because now I can spend more time doing the things that, like, if I don't have to go and book weeks worth of lessons all the time, then I can stay home and do the thing that makes me no money, that helps thousands of people if they listen to it or engage with it. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah. So I don't want to give too many secrets away, but I have some cool things planned. So this is actually saying, like, I can go in depth with people in a way that you can just engage with. And then also, obviously, reserve time to do it in person too.
Yeah.
So there's the business aspect of it. And so that's been taking a huge portion of my time. But from the opposite perspective, aside from teaching, is the shooting thing, which is that, for so long, really for 6 years, I have been so busy with my job which is in shooting, which is crazy because everybody says, thinks that if you're a professional shooter, you get all the time in the world to shoot. I have none. I don't know where that concept somehow like mysteriously disappeared from me. But I haven't been able to focus on being a better competitor, not because I don't get the opportunity to like practice but because I'm trying to cram so much stuff into a small window of time that I show up to a tournament not in a state that I need to be in order to win. And so that's a huge thing. Like, I can practice as much as I want and be mentally prepared and physically and technically prepared. If I show up driving through the night to get there from the other side of the country, I'm not going to beat the guy that slept for, 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way. So I've kind of been rebuilding. I've talked, with Wendell a lot about it, and him and I both, love talking about the history of other sports and other professionals and stuff. And I kind of am looking at this and treating it similarly to the way that Tiger Woods did when he just decided to rebuild everything. And it's not that I'm changing anything that I'm doing, but I want to go back to the process of training like I used to not be able to, but that I used to do before I had a resume that created demand to go somewhere to talk about how I used to practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah. One of the things people don't know about is you traded in the old battle axe for a new piece of iron. I was going to ask you about that. Were you just tired of digging holes out of the old chamber, or what prompted this? I mean,
yeah, that's the other piece of the puzzle, so you were a step ahead of me. Which is good, because I was probably going to ramble on until I remember what the other piece was.
Hey, listen, I promised a lot of people I'd keep you on a leash. Okay,
yeah.
So
you and I have done enough things where we're talking to a camera in person that you know when I'm going off track.
Yeah. It's like whoa. Yeah. Let's bring him back in here.
He's in the seventh dimension. Let's bring him back into at least the fourth. But no. So that's the other piece of the equation, which is that I took a long time, 2 years to spend on thinking about how I wanted to rebuild a gun for myself. Not because my old one wasn't like spec'd out in the way that I liked it, but because, the gun that I was shooting was 11 years old. I didn't know as much as I do now 11 years ago. I didn't know what, I hadn't shot enough with the magnifying glass turned in on myself to understand holistically what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what can I double down on that pays off 4 times over, what do I need to avoid because if I just touch it, it absolutely goes disastrous in the middle of the station. I didn't have as complete of an understanding of myself as an athlete back then. And so it was impossible for me to build a gun that perfectly fit inside the missing puzzle pieces. And after paying attention to all of that for so long, I do now. And I literally experimented with things for 2 years to finally arrive at the conclusion that I arrived at. And then it was such an oddball gun that it took longer than normal to build. And so that finally came in, and it came in perfectly in time with everything else, which is why I'm not stepping back from competition because I don't want to shoot anymore. I'm stepping back from competition because I want to go back to the way that I used to be, where when I was trying to learn a new thing, like my favorite thing to do is to go to a match and to immerse in that mindset of problem solving for multiple days with the focus on myself. But the way that I have to motivate myself is to be disciplined and not allowing myself to do the thing that I want to do until I achieve X, Y, Z, so to speak. And so I'm wanting to do a couple things. One is like get to the point where when I'm shooting my new gun, I'm not intuitively making the movement that I used to make with the old one. That was a compensation based move for the way that gun was not built for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Because now the gun that I have is literally built to make it to where the exact way that I move, it does too. And I'll tell you what, it's insane. Like when I practice, Jason, I can't believe a lot of the stuff that I can do. Honestly, I'm like, I cannot believe that happened that way. And then in the few matches that I've gone to just test, it's like I immediately revert to not thinking about how my body is moving because I've done it the same way for so long that what ends up happening is it will move with perfect execution of mechanics. But the easiest way to explain it would be like if you had too low of a gear in a sports car.
Okay.
You know, like and because my old gun was balanced and weighted in a way that was different than this one. And so like I overdo it too much because that's how I'm used to doing it. So I'm trying to retrain everything in this like whole system of how you respond to what you see with your body without thinking about how it's moving. I got to retrain it all to be basically non-bastardized, so to speak. Just, you know.
Well, I haven't seen your new gun, but I do have one question about it because I think I know the answer to that. Well, maybe I know the answer to this. I want to know how how many millimeters is your rib?
Yeah, it's 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters.
Oh my God. That's like looking down the edge of a fencing sword.
Yeah, I'm rebranding it as the riblet.
The riblet. Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, Perazzi doesn't like that too much, but I think. And listen, I'm the guy that's building their website, so they might not have a choice.
Okay, you can get a 6 millimeter, or you can get David's riblet.
Yeah, you can get the standard, you can get the reverse taper, you can get the 11x7, or you can get the riblet.
Wow, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter. Man, you'd really be lost if I put a side by side in your hands.
No, I love side by sides actually. For some reason, that's the only gun I shoot with when I hunt.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you go from a hairline to a freaking Cadillac hood? I mean,
that's a great question. Is that a serious question or for fun question?
Yeah, well, kind of both. I mean, because if you're used to shooting with such a skinny rib, and then somebody puts a side by side in your hand, I mean, look at the field of view you have on a side by side, dude. It's like, seriously, it's like looking at a Cadillac hood. I mean,
yeah, it is. It feels like an El Dorado.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the difference is, and this is exactly why I built the gun. Now, the gun that I have, the new one, I have two. I have an HTS which is, if people are familiar with Perazzis, that's the non-removable trigger group version of the high tech. And then I have a MX12, which is the non-removable trigger of the MX8. And so they are, high tech is, essentially 1.5 millimeters wider on each side of the bottom rearward part of the receiver than the MX platform, which adds a couple of ounces of weight to it, which I like. But I changed the way that the monoblock was built in the MX12 to match the handling characteristics of the HTS. That way that they both feel the same, but one is thinner and one is a little bit wider. I wanted to see the difference. I wanted to know, like, if they both move and feel and point and balance the same, what one would I prefer, and would I even notice the difference aesthetically? Especially because of how high my eye is up over the rib,
Yeah.
Whereas a normal person that, brings the, shoots 50-50, 55-45, 60-40, something like that. I honestly can't tell you what that's like to shoot because I've never done it intentionally in a match.
Well,
But with the way, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, I know as connected as you are with Perazzi, you probably knew that the new, what is it, the MR57? You probably knew that was coming. You didn't want to try that, or was there something about that balance that you didn't like?
No. Like I said, these guns took me so long to arrive at that it way predates knowing about the MR57.
Okay. Okay.
And so I started basically, so they took a while to be built, like I said, because it's, when I say I ordered a gun from Perazzi, I'm not saying like, hey, I want another high tech and they're all the same. I mean, the way that you can build a Perazzi is every part of the gun can be custom. It's not just me, like anybody can do that. And they really hate when my orders come in because they're so like oddball, But they're like, oh my God, can we send David over to some other company, please?
Well, yeah. David, I was going to say, man, I could have saved you thousands of dollars in tariffs if you would have went with a Kolar. So,
yeah.
Sorry, man, I had to throw that. I've been waiting to throw that one out there. I'm sorry.
But, you're good. So, like, because of that, here's why it took me so long to build, because the things that I have on my guns, I've never seen on a gun before. So I don't want to be wasteful, and just order something and be like, no, that was terrible. Let's not do that. Because then I can't even give that to somebody else, So I really had to slowly and deliberately go through the process of thinking about how I wanted it to be built. And it was all literally exactly for the process of, or for the purpose of what you pointed out between a side-by-side and an over and under, which is how it looks to me in competition.
Okay.
And don't let me forget that point, because I'll say something about the other question that you asked me, which is like with the MR57, I didn't know about that gun until maybe November of 2025.
Okay.
And I got these guns delivered literally actually at the Jack Links. So it was
you're talking 3 months or
and the MR57, we got the first ones in the country at the World Championship in May. So, and I am way too boneheaded to switch. Just because but I will say, I shot the demo prototype of the MR57, and I like it a lot. And in fact, actually, Tom he switched over to it already. Tom C. It's a cool gun. It really is very unique. The cool thing is that I don't know if there's any other manufacturer that offers this, but I know for sure it's the first time Perazzi's ever offered it, which is that.
So that's the gun he just won Georgia State FETASC with.
So as a FETASC shooter, I have to say that it's a shame that over in America that this is thought of that way, because the shoot that Tom just won, the only shoot he can win bigger than that is the World FITES Championship. That is bigger than winning nationals in San Antonio, what he just won. That is the Continental Championship of FITES.
Why do you say that?
That's what it is. It was not the Georgia State. It's like the way that this, if you ask anybody in Europe, if you were to say like, hey, you want to come over and shoot the Georgia State FITES? Like, yeah, or the Georgia State? Like, yeah, sure, sounds good. And they go on Score Chaser to sign up and they see what it said, Georgia State Sporting Clays Championship and North American FITES Championship. They would say, why the hell is that order not reversed?
Okay. All right. My bad. I labeled it wrong. So, okay. So, but anyway, back to my point. That's the gun he just won with.
Yeah. But what's so cool about it is I could be wrong. So if you know of any other one, let me know, because I'd be curious. But it's the first gun that Perazzi has ever made, possibly anybody else, standard from a factory with thin-walled chokes. Which is super cool, way cooler than most people realize, because the difference in pointability and balance between a fixed choke barrel and a choked barrel is huge. And anybody that wants the fixed choke feel, the fixed choke barrel feel of the movement and handling characteristics of a gun, the only way that you can get that previously is to order a fixed choke gun, if whatever manufacturer that you want to buy a gun from makes that, and then have somebody else thin wall it, but then you void your warranty. And so this is really cool because it comes from the factory that way, and it's the best of both worlds for the people that have more intellectual capability than me and can think about what choke they need to use.
I don't know if you caught it or not, but when we had Kyle Millwood on, he was telling us he went from the 34-inch on his K gun back down to a 32. And I said, Kyle, you and I are the same height. And he's like, yeah. And I said, you and I shooting 34-inch barrels is like a Keebler elf swinging a telephone pole. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I was very successful with him. But that's, I mean, seriously though, I mean, if you think about that, I know you like the 34-inch barrel, but what you're saying with the thin wall chokes, that might change that balance point. But for me, it just felt like every 34-inch barrel I've ever picked up, it felt like I had a car battery on the end of the gun.
Well, this is regardless of length.
Oh, okay. So they offer it both for the 34 and the 32?
33, 33 and a half, whatever you want.
Well, they just grab a hacksaw and whatever you want, they just trim it.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's a guy, he's got a really fast twitch right hand. And he just sits there.
Oh my God. This is why I can't record with you very often.
Just don't give him too much caffeine though, because the barrel becomes crooked. He can't have too much espresso. They limit him to the Italian espresso part of the factory over there.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got that one out. Well, despite all of this, are you still? I mean, you still getting some lessons in between here and there?
Am I teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm teaching some, but a huge portion of what I've been doing over the last couple months, really since November, is basically building this business and then and practicing more than I ever have. Like I would say,
trying to get the gun to feel like an extension in your hand, like the old one did.
Well, that's the thing. It feels identical to mine. It moves completely different. I'm really just trying to be deliberate and intentional. It's less about, I mean, I've shot so much that I can pick up any gun and shoot it really well. That's not me, bragging about how good I am. That's me covertly thanking my dad for spending my inheritance before I could get it.
On shotgun shells and targets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid. And so, I can adapt to a thing quickly. and I can change and do stuff very quickly. What I want to do is I want to be more disciplined with myself. I want to change how I approach what I do, because for the last 6 years, I made the choice to move what the thing was that I was putting all of my time and effort into. And I took it out of competing to put it in something else, whether that be teaching or building a gun club or whatever it is. And the only thing that I had room in my life to pull that deliberate investment of time from was preparing to win. That was the only thing, because if you win, when I did that, I started that change in mindset 3 weeks after I won the US Open in 2019. So basically, at the point in time when I decided to change that approach, there was nobody better than me in the United States. The only way to get to being as good as the best person in this country is you have to put, there's no room for being a full-time entrepreneur in some other realm. There's no room for, splitting half of your time with something else. It's not a good, look at every Olympic athlete at the end of every 4 years. They don't even have friends. It's not a healthy thing to do. So everybody naturally will pivot, and that's why we have periods of time where one person is dominating and then they'll go away for a while, because it's an unsustainable life unless you don't like having a good one.
I was just about to say, I feel so sorry for your girlfriend. So
yeah, exactly. What? Screw her. What about me? I'm the one that has to live with myself.
But you may have just became single, so careful. I don't know how much she listens to these things. So, well, with all this said, you've got the new gun, you've got the new business, you're practicing. What are your goals for the remainder of the year? Is there like some competitions you're really going to put some effort into? Or, I know you can't really reveal your crystal ball to us, but.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm the open book.
Are we going to see you a little bit more often, or what's going on?
I can't answer that question, because and I really think that's a really good question. And I hope people take my answer very seriously, because it's really important. You can't and you shouldn't measure your goals by, are you wanting to win a tournament? Because by doing that, it completely devalues the things required to do so. And so, yeah, I have plenty of goals in the realm of how well my shooting is going. None of them revolve around a competition, because they're all focused on how much do I want to train? How much do I want to think about and plan and prepare my practice? How much do I want to deliberately plan ahead, not to go to this shoot or go to that shoot or do this or do that, but to say, instead of looking at my calendar, to say, okay, when do I have free time and what tournaments are available? I want to look at my calendar, say, when do I have free time and where do I want to go for 5 days where I can isolate myself and train? That's what that realm of thinking is where my goals are in.
Mm-hmm.
And until I get to a specific point of what I feel like I'm capable of doing, then at that point in time, I'm going to switch into the mindset that I've talked about plenty of times on other podcasts, where then I will pick a tournament and I'm going to go for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that will be before the end of the year, in the middle of next year, because it's going to be based off of like a measurable quality that I can, I guess, perceive in my ability to do or feel, and I can't, I don't know when that will be.
Well, and I don't want to beat this up too much. We talked about it on the last podcast, but I don't know if you've been paying attention, David. The schedule is insane now. And what I mean by that is, like, if you want to go to a good shoot, it's not hard to pick one. Like, literally, you can pick up the phone on Monday morning and look at Score Chaser, and there's a plethora of good shoots around the country that you can go to. Like, all these clubs have elevated everything that they're doing. They're creating better experiences for the shooters, better payout. They're really focused on, like, their target setting. Again, like I said, payout, giveaways, all this stuff. And it's great as a shooter. The problem comes is on the club side, right? Because what are they going to, they've got to outdo the guy down the road in order to get attendance, right? Mm-hmm. So it's harder. It's becoming harder for the clubs to become profitable because it's harder for them to draw a crowd. And I don't know.
Well, it's harder for the smaller clubs to become profitable.
Yeah, well, but at the same time, okay, let me give you an example that I brought up on the last podcast. You take the Shooters Championship, okay? Mm-hmm. The very next weekend, I went to the Southeast Regional. The very next weekend, I was scheduled to go to California State, and if I wanted to, there was probably 10 other state shoots that weekend I could have went to. Okay, the very next weekend was Georgia State. Take, for example, here in the next week or so, we've got the Ohio State Championship. Following that is Indiana State, which is right down the road. Following that, it's the U.S. Open. It's just one after the other, after the other, after the other. And, you mix regionals in there. You mix now the World Championship next year is overseas. So, it's just a constant. If you're a competitor, you have every shoot at your fingertips that you would ever want to go to and make some money, or, whatever your goal is. If it's punches and patches or whatever your goal is, there's a lot of good shoots out there now. But it's getting harder and harder for clubs to draw attendance because they're back to back with people, right? And like myself, that was my point. I had to pull out of a couple of those shoots because if not, I'd have been on the road for a month straight. I got a lot of heat for not going to the Worlds. That would have put me, if I would have went to the Worlds, that would have put me on the road for 4 weeks straight at that time. Yeah. And, when you have a family, dude, look, I don't know what people think. I love our sponsors today. Thank you so much to I'm humbled by our sponsors. But it's not enough to make the mortgage payment. And it's definitely not enough to fly me around the country. So, I got to be mindful of what I go to and where I spend my money, because for myself, it's the shooting's the enjoyment part of it. You know what I mean? And the being with people and everything. I'm not like you or somebody else at the top echelon of the game that's going to get a big paycheck if I win. That's just not going to happen.
Well, nobody is. There's not even at the top of the game. You can't, there's no paycheck that's big. If you won every paycheck for the whole year, it still wouldn't be big.
Well, most regionals, I know there's a few outliers, but most regionals, let's say I go there and I win AA class. That's not enough money to pay for the flight in the hotel room, let alone the rental car, the $900 a week golf cart, the flats of ammo, the registration. So really, even if you win, it's not going to justify the cost of going, if that's what your end goal is money. Now, if you're going for, the entertainment value and the fun of being with your, the camaraderie and all that stuff, man, go to all the shoots you can. But it's taxing on the average income individual to try and keep up with all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you're ready, dude, that was my point, is there's every shoot you want to go to at your fingertips right now. Casey Chase has got to be really busy over there at Score Chaser.
Yeah, that's a good thing for the sport, but I think that I think that what I'm about to say has to be classified into a specific category of like a specific demographic of people that participate in the game.
Yeah.
Which would be like, split it up into three groups. You have the people that do it for the reason that you just said, which is that it's a social reason. Then you have the people that do it because you're trying to, in some form or another, measure and work towards improvement. And then there's the third type of person that does it as a professional or sole focus of a career.
Right.
There's not even 1% of people in that third one. There's maybe 5% of people in that second one. I think that would be a huge stretch. I mean, if you measure, keep in mind, I'm not talking about the people that just go to like at the US Open. I'm not saying only 5% of the people. I'm talking about of the 20 some million people in the United States that shoot the game, how many people are, it's really less than 1%, and the pros are less than 0.0001%. But let's just talk about the NSCA, 30,000 people. You go to the US Open, there's a good percentage of people that are there just for the social reasons. Yeah. I'm not talking about them, and I'm not talking about the professionals. I'm talking about that middle group when I say what I'm about to say, which is that middle group of people, those are the people that take lessons.
Yeah.
And they're the people that listen. They selectively listen to podcasts to see what they can learn, not just because they want to be entertained. And those people, I think, very easily fall into the habits of the first group because they all come from the first group. And the way that you should approach the game if you're in that first group to be more social is you want to go to as many tournaments as you can. If you have a free weekend, go somewhere and shoot. If you're in that middle group, you shouldn't be going to more than 3 to 4 big tournaments in a year. Go to the monthly ones in your local area, but don't try to fill a schedule of tournaments, because my question for you would then be, when do you have the time to practice?
Exactly. Exactly.
And but it's so weird that so many people, it's so easy not to realize that, and then to get frustrated because you're not seeing yourself improve, but that's the thing that you're wanting to have,
Right.
And then when that happens, then it ruins the game for you socially too.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that's just the thing, right? Like, get used to doing well at a local stage, and then when you go to the bigger stage, it doesn't seem like you're climbing such a big mountain,
Yeah.
I think I've accepted the fact that with this podcast, and the obligations I have when I go to a shoot, and plus talking to everybody, I've just accepted the fact that I'm going to have to keep the game as enjoyment for me. There's a couple of shoots a year that I'm going to put a lot of effort into and probably hide a little bit, if you will, when I go to those shoots, so that I can compete a little bit more. But I've accepted the fact that I'm not going to be at the top of Masterclass. Okay, I've let that go. I'm doing everything I can to stay where I'm at in AA, because I've been back and forth from Master to AA 4 times now. And, but I had this talk with Corey Cruz when I was at Shooters Championship, and I was like, look, as long as I have this podcast, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, I get pulled in a lot of directions when I go to a shoot. Okay. I feel obligated to visit with my sponsors, be there for them, help them if they need anything, because they help me all year long,
Right.
Whether it's helping put up tents or helping with a customer, anything I can do to help. And then also, for a lot of people, it's the only time they get to see me, right? So, and listen, I am not a celebrity, but people want to come up and talk to me, and I love it, man. I absolutely love talking to people. But that is a very big distraction if you're there to try and compete. I always remember the last year that Joe Finizzi won the Jack Links, which was 3 years ago, I think it was. But anyway, he got in his truck and left.
Right.
Why? Because he didn't want any distractions. He was focused. And, I can't do that. I can't do that for the business reasons of the podcast and for the social reasons. But I've accepted that.
I think a better way, it's not that you can't, it's that you don't. And that's not a thing to feel guilty about. The thing that, and I try to reframe this a lot with my students, which is that, like, and it doesn't, I know you well enough to to know that you'll go through phases of this, but it's not all the time, which is that because it's human to go through phases of this, but always try to keep it salient in your mind that, you know, whatever you choose to do, you shouldn't feel bad about, because that's the thing that you want to do. The only thing that's wrong is if you're doing a thing that you don't want to do, in terms of how do I approach the game. And to you and to me as well. This is why, like, I can look back on the last 6 years of my career and happily talk to anybody that criticizes me for quote unquote not taking competing seriously, because it's not like I was unaware of what my priorities were. I can line them up every day I wake up. I can put a list of all of them on the table and say, what is the most important thing for me to choose to focus and be really good at right now? Is it being a coach? Is it starting a business? Is it being a father? I'm not, but I'm, the
I will hope not.
I was just about to say that, and I was like, I probably shouldn't. But for every person, it's always a daily choice. And if you're making that choice, don't feel bad about it, and don't put yourself down or allow yourself to feel like you're incapable because of it. Because the real measurement of your ability is to say, instead of saying like, I've accepted I'll never be at the top of masterclass, a better way to reframe that would be, I've accepted that because I love the Dead Pair podcast and running it so much, and I like the interaction that it allows me to have at tournaments with people, I've accepted the fact that I would rather do that than be in the top of masterclass.
Well, maybe I should have restructured what I said, because that's what I meant.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm not. I know that you know, but I'm saying that so the other people, because you would be surprised how many people don't ever think of that. They don't, and so then what happens is they get discouraged either in their ability or their capability. Yeah. And and that's not. And the real thing is like, okay, well, sometimes a good coach is not just there to help you learn how to hit a 70-yard crosser. Sometimes a good coach has to say, hey, this lesson shouldn't be about anything out on the course today. Let me help you figure out a way that, right now it's evident to me that you want to put your time into shooting and figure out what you're capable of if you did, but you don't know how to do it. Let me help you with that today. Right. Because sometimes that's a thing that people are oblivious of as even being a choice that is available to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you remember correctly, it was a few years ago, me, you, and Sean were in studio recording a podcast, and Sean talked about taking that long, hard look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did a couple years ago. And it's like, look, I got to be honest with myself. I don't have the time. I don't have the money to train to do what I want to accomplish. Okay, so that's right. That's number one. So I had to weigh the pros and the cons, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew that with the podcast and the obligations that I have, it's going to be a constant distraction. I don't care if it's at a local shoot or US Open or whatever, right? So that was another big factor. And it was like, I love the game. I'm passionate about the game, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this. I had a really lucrative career that I cut the parachute cord, and I'm about to smack the ground, so I gotta be careful. But and I chose to do this because I have a love and passion for the game. So It was like, you know what? I'm not gonna make a career at 50. At the time, I was 50 years old. I'm not gonna make a career out of shooting, and I have to decide what's more important. And for me, as much as I love shooting, as much as I love competing, to me, it was more important to focus on this podcast and honor my sponsors that stand behind me each and every day and support me. And to, when I'm at a shoot, make sure as many people want to come up and shake my hand and talk to me, I'm there for it. Let's do it. Hey, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that was the basis of my decision. It's like, I'm going to enjoy the game for what it is, and I'm going to compete when I can. Like I said, there's a few shoots every year that I hold near and dear to me that I would love to accomplish some things. But for the vast majority of it, it's going to be that social aspect of it. So
Right.
with that being said, and people, why didn't you go to the World Championship? I think I just explained it.
Right. Well, I
from
remember you a couple months ago explaining to me how, the thing that you wanted to do this year was make a focus to attend a lot of state shoots. I think that's freaking awesome. I mean, that's a completely different experience than repeating the same schedule that we always have every year of going to
right.
5 regionals, a US Open, and a national championship. That the diversity of experience and location that you get and targets and
Right.
even people is so cool. I mean, I think the coolest shoots on tour are the state shoots. And I've always thought that because they are all so different. And, I might get heat from the people that own the big ones, but I'll say all day long, a smaller club that hosts a state shoot, they logistically are able to do a better job than any big shoot. When you get 2,000 people on a piece of property, you can't, I don't care how much money that you spend on it. You can't offer the same experience as when there's between 80 to 180,
Right.
and then extrapolate that onto bigger stages as you go. But a state shoot is just different. It can be held at a club that's different. Literally just going to a different club that you haven't been to maybe ever or in 5 years. That's different, and it's
Right.
fun. And it's not to say that you shouldn't go to the big ones and that they fail in that measurable, the statistic. They're not a big shoot with 2,500 people. The purpose of it is not to give you the experience that you would at a small one.
Right.
That's not what they're trying to be good at. So it's okay that they're not,
Well, and the bigger the shoot, the more chances are for something to go wrong.
Yeah, or just you're spread thin. I mean,
Yeah.
You can't. A small shoot, I can have literally logistically at a small shoot. I don't need as many trackers. That's a huge portion of the experience for the shooter. At a small shoot, I can have a local restaurant make the dinner and make it really, really nice. For 2,800 people, I have to have a catering company. There's not very many catering companies in the middle of nowhere where gun clubs are that can have food like a fancy restaurant,
Right.
That's just completely different. Every little piece of the experience can be better at a small shoot because it's easier to do so.
Right. And I'll say this again too. I do not want to discourage someone if they've never been to a big shoot. We're not trying to discourage you. Go. You need to go and experience it, right? But I think the local clubs need our support more and more, especially with the schedule getting bigger. And like you said, David, sometimes the experience at a smaller shoot can be threefold what it is at a bigger shoot.
It's really cool. Totally different.
Yeah. I mean, look at it like this, dude. If your wife or your husband, whoever your significant other is, can make a mean pot of soup, I guarantee if they did 10 times the ingredients and put it in a big vat and had 500 people over, it's not going to taste the same.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of gets somehow in the mix, it gets watered down, or one little ingredient doesn't quite add up, right? So, and again, it's not a dig at the big shoots. Man, I love the big shoots. They're awesome. But you don't have to go to a big shoot every weekend or even every month, For me, I pick a few a year. Jack Links is one of them. Nationals is one of them. And then I try to hit one regional is where I'm at right now. And the rest of the majority of my time is going to be at state shoots and local shoots.
Yeah.
And the cost is the other thing too, right? So, but David, we've rambled quite a bit here. I guess now this late in the show, I should have said this at the beginning. Just want to remind everyone, we will not have an episode next week. It's during the Ohio State shoot, and I am traveling across the country with my family, so we will not have an episode next week, but we'll be back the following week. We'll be back good and strong. And we have a new segment. It's called David's Brain. and we're going to launch it on this episode. So
Do I get to hear the intro of this one?
you do. Sit tight.
Inside David's brain.
Long story short, that my brain works. ADHD, literally physiological hyperfocus, inputting into the neuroplasticity, child neuroplasticity, adult neuroplasticity.
Inside David's brain, literally.
Long story short, my thoughts literally changes this equation. Mindfulness, self-awareness, literally neurologically, empirically, the data would suggest.
Inside David's brain.
Long story short, literally.
All right, David. So, you like that intro, by the way?
I don't know what's going on over there. You must have like angel investors or something. Because I mean, my God.
Yeah, thank you to Toby Tomplay for putting that together.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing I have to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I know it is a thing that I should talk to my psychiatrist about because it was calming to listen to that to me. I was like, oh, this is such a familiar inner monologue.
Oh, I hear a new prescription in your future. All right, David. So a lot of people have wrote to us and asked us if we would ask you this. And please keep in mind, I'm paraphrasing because a lot of people ask the same question in a different manner. But okay, here we go. They're asking about your mindset and focus when stepping into a station. Can you walk us through the psychological and physiological process when you enter a station?
Yeah. Pick up whoever's listening to this, pick up your phone, rewind 45 seconds. There's your answer. So, and here's what's actually semi-truth about that. That actually is a fairly accurate representation for the way that a lot of people's minds work when they are like nervous in a match. You know, it's a complete overload of like tangential thoughts that are overlapping and prevent the ability to be present in thought and present in physical connectedness with the body, and flip you from being in a like decisive, authoritative state of attention into being in a state of like pure reactive decision making, so to speak, because it completely eliminates the ability to be able to think further ahead than what's happening right now, but not in a way that's good because you're experiencing a calm presence of thought, in a way that's bad because you're experiencing an overwhelm. And so it's actually cool that you have that, because it's really a good example of that. But essentially, just repeat the question one more time for me so I can make sure I answer it accurately. It's basically what's going on in my head physiologically and emotionally as I prepare for a station.
Yeah, so it says, can you walk us through the psychological and physiological process when you enter a station?
Yeah. So, instead of saying psychological and physiological, what I'm going to say is I'll split it up into the category of really three categories of mental / emotional. That's one category. Second category is physical. Third category is visual. And because physiological is psychological is half of physiological in a sense. So you really should categorize it into those three categories that I just listed. So what happens for me and what's going on inside of my mind is essentially I'm trying to pay attention to those three states. How does my body feel right now? What emotions and thoughts am I experiencing? And how are my eyes working right now? Not just working in a sense of how are they moving? How am I perceiving what I'm seeing? Things like that. And if I can hold on to those, if I can hold on to a state of awareness to those three things, then I'm going to be using that to compare it against what I believe those three things should be at state-wise in order to do what is the most optimal thing for me for the presentation of targets I'm about to shoot.
All right, well, that's enough for that for this week.
Inside David's brain.
David, hey, I don't know if you caught it or not. I want to say a very big thank you to Matthew Gay, Clay Shooting USA magazine, and the fine folks over at Shotgun Sports magazine. They both published articles, one of them of which I did with Eric Trump. So thank you.
I didn't know you could write.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. ChatGPT is a wonderful thing. No, I'm just kidding. And then the one that was done at Shotgun Sports magazine, they actually called and interviewed Sean and I, and they published every word of it. It's like 7 pages long. It's awesome.
Wow.
Very, very big thank you to them. So as you all know, YouTube had pulled our channel down, but it's back. And I have to give a huge, huge shout out to John Comerford and his staff at the NRA. They work very diligently. They work, every day. They're fighting Meta and Google on things like this, and they got me back on. And I'm even working directly with some folks at YouTube now, so it's going to be bigger and better. But very, very big thank you to John Comerford and the NRA. I mean, without them, we would have permanently lost our YouTube channel for silliness. So thank you to them very, very much. We do have a Patreon. It's right down in the show description. Of course, we're still on all the podcast outlets, but if you would like to, if you don't listen through a podcast app, you can go to our Patreon. We have our videos loaded there now. And until our website's up, which will be probably by the next episode you hear, which I'm very excited about. That's a way that you can get over and participate. Also, on the Patreon, it's free to sign up, but if you do join the subscription, which is $5 a month, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you're going to have quick access, or early access, I should say, to all of our videos. There's going to be some special content that the subscribers will get before anybody else does. And when we do our Scoops episode, you're going to be able to participate, ask questions. I'm even going to have a call-in number, so you can call in, be part of the show. And then for those that are just on the free side, that video will be available the next day. So there's a few benefits to being a paid member.
Well, don't forget to tell them about the VIP membership.
Oh no, I'm afraid to ask. What are you talking about?
Well, you were telling me the other day that you were coming up with a VIP membership is going to be $14.99 a month, and the only thing that you get on top of the normal membership is that every single one of the snippets of every podcast I've ever been in where I'm talking is cut out.
No, David, I want people to actually sign up, dude.
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, wait, cut out. Oh.
Yeah, cut out.
I might be buying me a new gun this month, but no, I'm just kidding. That's hilarious. David, seriously though, man, thank you for coming back on. And I do want to I think it'd be fun to have you on. I'm trying to get a roundtable put together for our year-end show. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Have you come on. I'm trying to get the big guy back in. I'd like to get all the hosts that have helped us this year to come on at the same time. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Maybe have another special guest or two. And I want to video the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. Listen, folks, our message is the same each and every week. Take someone new shooting, take them to a tournament, whether it's a big tournament, a local tournament, or, state shoot. Drag them out there with you. If they're just a recreational shooter, show them how much fun it is to go to one of these tournaments. And if they're not a shooter at all, this is your chance, man. Take them out, show them how much fun this game is. Get them hooked and addicted like us so they spend all their money on shotgun shells. Or if, in David's case, the parent spends all their inheritance on shotgun shells.
Either way, I'm not getting it.
You're not getting it, David. But no, seriously, David, thank you for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, man. And listen, I'm going to get as much love as I am heat for having you back on, but it's worth it. You know, it's been a while, so.
It has. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we going to see you at Ohio State? Can we let that out of the bag? Oh my gosh, he's actually coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
That's an awesome shoot. I am really looking forward to that.
Yes, it's going to be a good one. It's moving next year. Not allowed to say who or where or what and when yet, but I think big things are coming. But
cool.
Listen, everyone, we went long. Imagine that, David's with us. So until next week, we can't wait to catch y'all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Big thanks to the following sponsors: RE Ranger, see it further, see it faster with Ranger Performance Eyewear. Atlas Traps, America's finest clay target equipment. Gun and Trophy Insurance, protect your prized possessions with the best insurance. Rhino Chokes, the best chokes and barrel porting in the world. Taconic Distillery. After the tournament, it's time for one more shot with Taconic Distillery. Long Range, the industry standard for trap release and target management. Score Chaser, your shoots simplified. Midway USA Foundation, changing the future of youth shooting sports. Odo Pro Technologies, the trusted source for hearing protection. Bear Pelt, it's not just a vest, it's your new uniform. El Jefe Energy, fuel for the fearless. And J-Tech, the Dead Pair Podcast's technology partner.